Good afternoon, everyone. This is meteorologist Shane Hinton hopping onto Facebook Live and our other digital platforms in order to give you an update on the storms we are continuing to monitor as they push in from the west. I'm going to allow just a couple of seconds to let people to hop on to this stream. Let me know if you can, in fact, hear my microphone. I want to make sure it's all working, so let me know in the comments. I am monitoring the Facebook comments currently, so just let me know where you're tuning in from and if you can, in fact, hear me, and we're going to get started in the next few seconds. Okay, Brad, Nick, thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you, Monica. Hey, out there in Cedar Park. Anita, hello, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get things started. I appreciate y'all giving me that mic check. We're starting with a look at your Doppler radar right now, okay? We're tracking another hot and muggy day across central Texas. We're getting that moisture from the south, but notice as you make your way a little bit further to the west, we are tracking already a line of storms with quite a bit of lightning. I'm going to zoom in on those quickly just to kind of address those first and show you what we're currently noticing just north of Mason County. You can see this is just now to the east of the Brady area. The system, the storms for this particular system are moving anywhere from the east to northeast, kind of slowly, honestly. If we take a closer look, you can see quite a bit of lightning that's associated with it. Let's also take a look at some of those rainfall rates. So it's falling at a rate at about 6.5 inches per hour. So these are some heavy downpours. If you have any friends out there, or if you have to be making a commute at any point to areas just north of Mason County, you're going to want to make sure that you maybe sit it out until that storm moves through, just because we are dealing with some pretty heavy downpours. Let me throw it into loop, and then you can see kind of what direction they're moving, kind of bubbling up from that stream from the south. Now, keep in mind that we are going to continue to see showers and storms develop as we go into the evening. These are just a few scattered afternoon storms. We are talking about the potential for some severe weather later this evening into tonight. In fact, this is from the Storm Prediction Center. You can see that all, or almost all, I should say, of central Texas has been placed under that level 1 or marginal risk for severe weather. The main concerns are going to be the possibility of heavy rainfall, strong gusts, and some potentially large hail. Now, the hail is something that is going to be a little bit more hit or miss in regards to where it occurs. So whenever we're talking about specifics of where is the heaviest rainfall going to happen, where is the hail going to happen if it happens at all, that's still a little spotty. Let me hop up on the camera real quickly for you. Actually, let's do it right here so we don't block anything. Hi there, you guys. So I am continuing to monitor the Facebook comments while I am doing this. So if there are any questions, please feel free to drop them in there. Keep in mind that we're not going to have the specifics for everything at this point, just because we're several hours out. And all the high resolution forecast models are once again not in agreement with this storm. What are the takeaways from this? It means you should be staying up to date with the most recent forecasts. We're going to have Chief Meteorologist Erica Lopez in here for the rest of the evening and the overnight hours, just to make sure that we are monitoring these storms and that we have the full coverage for you. But let's take a look first off, taking a wider look, what's sparking up these showers and storms. If you take a look towards the Four Corners region, so just to the north and west of Texas, northern Texas, I should say, we have that spinning counterclockwise motion. That's that upper level low pressure system that we're continuing to monitor as we go throughout the next, I'd say 12 to 24 hours. Really the next 12 hours is when we'll see the bulk and the strongest storms from this particular system, but there is a second upper level low that's going to be bringing additional rain for the back half of the week and into ACL weekend 1. Want to give everyone a reminder of the drought monitor. The reason I say this is because we are expecting several inches of rainfall this week. And since some areas are experiencing abnormally dry weather, or dry conditions, I should say, you can see most notably it's in portions of the hill country, really out in Gillespie County. A good majority, I would say, of Gillespie County is still tracking abnormally dry conditions. Now, this isn't a drought, but it is something worth noting because the soil is very dry, so that it should be able to take quite a few inches of rainfall. However, when we have several inches all being dropped at once, that's when that will lead to localized flooding concerns. So I want to show you one of the high resolution forecast models. Now, I mentioned previously how they're not all in agreement. I've chosen this one because it lined up a little bit more with what the current Doppler radar trends were showing. So we could very well switch to a different radar or another Futurecast. a little bit later in the evening. There's a possibility that as they refresh, because they do runs pretty consistently, depending on which forecast model you're utilizing, it could change entirely. So that's why we're continuing to keep it up to date. This does not look the same as it did during our 11 o'clock midday show. So that's why we like to hop onto these Facebook Lives before our broadcast. Notice that as we go throughout the afternoon, we'll have a few scattered showers and storms that could be occurring along the coastal plains. In fact, I did see some just east, I believe, of LaGrange a couple of minutes ago. But the main severe weather concern is going to be moving in from the west. So notice this is around just after dinner time, 7:30, 8 o'clock. You notice that line of storms starting to push into the hill country. It looks like an additional band is trying to meet up with these storms from the south, stretching from San Antonio all the way to San Marcos by around 10:30. Right now, the current timeline is showing midnight for the I-35 corridor, including Travis County and Austin. Notice that as we go into the back half of the evening and early Wednesday morning, that's when it starts pushing out to the Bastrop regions, Giddings, LaGrange, and then starts to slowly fizzle out as we go into the early morning hours. Now, something worth noting is that like I said, the runs have looked a little bit different. However, the past few runs, they've started getting into this consensus of a late evening run for these storms from west to east. In fact, all of them have been showing a west to east movement overall. Let's talk about how much rain we could see. Keep in mind, this is just, once again, one of multiple different runs. The National Weather Service has stated how it's going to be extremely difficult to kind of pinpoint which exact areas could receive excessive rainfall and heavy downpours. In fact, the forecast is generally calling from 1 to 3 inches for some of the heavier areas tonight. But it's still very hit or miss since the high resolution forecast models don't agree. It's very difficult to pinpoint where those isolated heavy downpours could be, areas around 3 inches or more of rainfall. You're going to see what I mean in just a second when I show you this rainfall forecast. As we go into the late dinner time hours, early evening, you see traces picking up in portions of the hill country. As we jump to around midnight, see how some portions of the hill country could be anywhere between 1.5 inches to 2 inches of rain. As we get closer to midnight into 1:30, notice that it kind of, the system almost splits a little bit around the Austin area, so it doesn't get as much rainfall as areas of the hill country or areas in to the south. But let me kind of extend this a little bit longer. Notice how it wants to put almost 5 inches of rain in Bastrop. I don't think that is necessarily going to happen, but the National Weather Service has indicated how some isolated, very heavy downpours could occur. And I think that's what this forecast model is trying to pick up on. And it's assigned Bastrop as an area that could get these heavy downpours. Keep in mind that locally heavy downpours like that could happen anywhere. Just for these model runs, it's been putting it in the Bastrop region. Let me also show you what the rainfall forecast is calling for the next 7 days. So none of these totals, except the areas that you're seeing out near Bastrop, are concerning because we haven't had rain in about 3 weeks. In fact, September 6th was the last time we had measurable rain out at Camp Mabry. But notice, as we go throughout the next 7 days, some of the rainfall projections are showing anywhere from 2 to 3 inches for the hill country, 1 to 2 inches as you make your way out towards the east. Isolated areas could see 4 inches or more. Over the course of 7 days, that's when it starts to get a little tricky because we have that 1 to 3 inches that could be acquired tonight. We don't get as much of a break for the moisture to get absorbed into the ground. It doesn't evaporate as much because we're not going to have as much sunshine the next few days, in addition to that second upper level low moving in and providing additional rain. I think on the back half of the week, that's where our flooding concerns are really going to be more crucial, and it's going to be more important to pay attention to the localized flooding that could happen in your neck of the woods. Let's talk about winds currently. We're seeing gusts up to 28 miles per hour in LaGrange right now, 16 mile per hour gusts in Fredericksburg and in Georgetown. Just as a refresher on your screen right now, the numbers in white, those are sustained wind speeds, so consistent airflow. And the numbers in gold, those are your gusts, so those strong bursts of wind. Taking a look at one of the forecast models in regards to when the wind could pick up, I want to kind of jump into the early evening. So we're taking a look at 9:30. Notice that winds are blowing anywhere from 10 to 35 miles per hour is what this particular model is showing. As we go past midnight and those storms continue to push out towards the east, that's when you're noticing those winds also picking up towards the east. Once again, I'm seeing on this particular model anywhere from 10 to 30 mile per hour winds. The National Weather Service did want to indicate that there is the potential for gusts up to 40 miles per hour. What does this mean for you? Well, if you have anything out in the yard, any loose debris, your trash can, bring it in the garage, put it under a shelter, strap it down, whatever you need to do to make sure that it doesn't blow out into the street, hit other people's property, hit cars. If you do have the ability to bring your car into a carport or a garage, I would strongly suggest doing so just because there is the possibility of some hail tonight. Also, like I said at the beginning of this stream, the location of the hail is going to be very difficult to kind of like match up with at this point, just due to the fact that we haven't had any reports so far of any hail that's occurred with the storms before they've arrived here. And also it's going to really be dependent on where the storms with the heaviest convection are. They did indicate that some of the hail could be large, and that just means there's more instability in the atmosphere. Those small little pieces of ice get carried back up towards the top of the clouds that they're coming out of, and they go through processes that allow them to kind of like gain more ice, or gain more layers of ice, I should say. And so that's where we're going to be focusing in on the largest hail, is going to be where hail potential, I should say, is going to be where the largest amounts of convection are currently being shown. Okay, so I'm hopping over here to the Facebook comments before I move forward. Let's pull back up that Doppler radar so I can show you what we're working with. Again, I'm seeing Gerald, Wimberley, Round Rock, the Austin area, Dripping Springs, Hudson Bend. Okay, so you guys, this is, let me also mention those storms. Let me give you a zoom in on those storms that are out towards the east at the moment. Let's take a look. So just southeast of LaGrange. Let's zoom in a little bit further. We can do that. Show you what we're working with here. Okay, so quite a bit of lightning that's associated with this one as well, just north of Hillcrest. These are moving from the south to the north. This is not the band of storms that we're particularly concerned with at this time, but it is just worth noting if you're going to be out on the roads, or if you have any friends or family members that are maybe making an early commute home from work today that are out there in the southeast, just to make them aware that there are some storms that they could bump into. The main concern, once again, is going to be this evening as we're tracking this line of storms that's moving from west to east. So the current timeline that we're going with is going to be late evening into the overnight hours. That's when we could decide to, or we could start to see some of the stronger storms push through. Main concerns, once again, are going to be the possibility of heavy rainfall, strong gusts anywhere from 30 to 40 miles per hour, and the possibility of some large hail. As a refresher, just pointing out right here, a majority of Central Texas does fall under that level 1 or marginal risk for severe weather. Now, the Storm Prediction Center can upgrade this. They can downgrade it at all. They can do that later this afternoon. The best way to stay in touch and up to date with this information is to watch our broadcasts. Check on air or online at KVUE.com. We're consistently and constantly updating our blogs and weather articles. And then also you can download the KVUE News app. It's a free resource that you can get on the app stores. And if you enable your location services, it can alert you of any severe weather that's coming your way. Okay. Also, we have Chief Meteorologist Erica Lopez once again, who's going to be back in the studio here through the evening, here through the night, making sure to update you on our 5, 6, and 10 o'clock broadcasts. And she'll also be able to hop online if there are to be any significant updates with the forecast before our broadcast as well. I see people from all over tuning in. Hello, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm seeing specifics about a lot of people asking about particular locations. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hop back over to that Futurecast slide, and I'll slowly scroll through it so you can kind of pinpoint and see where your neck of the woods is going to line up with the timeline. Okay, so I'll do that one more time. Let me pop that up for y'all. Okay, so once again, this is what we're going to be tracking. You notice those storms pushing in from west to east. Once again, going with this particular forecast model due to the fact that it just lines up the best with what we're currently seeing on Doppler radar. This is around 8 o'clock for portions of the hill country. Any residents that are tuning in right now, I'm seeing all your Facebook comments. If you're tuning in from any portion of the hill country, keep in mind that it could start to get a little bit more active there around 9, 10 o'clock. Then as we make our way toward the I-35 corridor, stretching all the way down from Georgetown to San Marcos, this is around midnight. As we make our way towards 1, 2 in the morning, that's when it starts affecting our eastern counties. We're talking Milam, Lee, Fayette counties. And then as we make our way toward the 3 o'clock hours, hopefully pushing out towards the east. Now, in regards to our rain potential for Wednesday, the high resolution forecast models have been showing a little bit of a break in the rain, at least for the latter half of the morning into the afternoon, which is good because we would like a little bit of time for that rain that we've accrued or acquired to kind of soak into the ground. However, I don't think the break is going to be very long. Some of the forecast models have shown another potential round of storms late Wednesday evening into Thursday night. And then also we still have to deal with that second upper level low pressure system that's going to bring additional rounds of rain for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So that's why it's going to be extremely crucial to make sure you're staying up to date with the latest forecast and information, and also monitoring those flood levels that we're going to be keeping an eye on here in the Weather Center. Alexa, I'm seeing a couple of questions here. Keon, great question. Tornado outbreak. Asking about, is there going to be a possibility of tornadoes? Right now, we have not been seeing tornadic activity being a main concern. As I've mentioned a little bit earlier, the main concerns for this evening are going to be heavy rain, strong gusts, and hail. Right now, they haven't mentioned tornadic activity. However, that's not to say it's not, completely off the table. It just means it's not one of the things that the National Weather Service is too concerned at this point. Okay. I see the question from Alexander. What does convection mean? Convection in the atmosphere, when I'm talking about storms kind of developing or bubbling or cooking up, is how I kind of like to kind of simplify things, is when you get the warm conditions, instability in the atmosphere, you have just updrafts that are happening, large amounts of air that are going up in the atmosphere, and they start to cycle through the clouds. That's how those clouds start to grow so tall in the sky. That's also in the distance, whenever you see those tall clouds and you're like, there's a storm a brewing, those like fun little terms. It's because there's a lot of convection that's going on in the atmosphere, and that's what helps those storms grow stronger and stronger. Alexa asking, is marginal a low risk of hail? So marginal is saying a marginal risk for severe storms or severe weather. Hail, it's not saying it's just a marginal risk for hail only. It's saying a marginal risk for storms overall. Those storms can contain hail. And as of the last update from the National Weather Service, they were mentioning that the possibility of it getting fairly large. They didn't have a size estimate at the last update, but hail will be a possibility. So if you do, once again, have the ability or possibility of putting your car under a carport or a garage, I would strongly encourage doing so tonight just to be on the safe side. Jenny asking, am I really going to make it rain this time? It's looking like rain is a sure bet this time. We're hoping it's not too severe. And if it's not today, it will most likely be later in the week. In fact, before I let you go, let me show you the 7-day forecast so you can see what I'm talking about in regards to rainfall. It's just shaping up to be a very wet work week and possibly a wet weekend as well. We're tracking anywhere from a 40% chance of showers today all the way up to an 80 to 90% chance for showers and storms on Friday. For those of you that are attending ACL, make sure that you are staying up to date with the policies in regards to what you can and cannot bring into the festival. Kind of a good reminder, you're not allowed to be bringing umbrellas into the festival, so go ahead and purchase yourself a poncho, because right now the forecast is kind of reflecting that you're most likely going to need one. So once again, as a reminder, 40% chance for showers and storms, but it increases quite a bit as we go into the overnight hours. That 60% for scattered thunderstorms on Wednesday is predominantly going to be in the morning time hours, just because it looks like we get a little bit of a break as we go into the early afternoon, but we could see a few additional storms bubble up Wednesday evening into Thursday morning. Thursday, 60% chance for scattered showers and storms. As we go from late Thursday into Friday, that's when we're expecting the impacts from that second upper level low to fully arrive. And that's why the showers and storms are a little bit more widespread on Friday. Lingering storms will occur into Saturday, and then maybe we can get those rain chances to slim off on Sunday, but right now it's still looking like a 20 to 30% chance for the time being. But if you're trying to look for a silver lining, we desperately need some rain. It's been over 3 weeks since we've received any measurable rainfall out at Camp Mabry, and because of the rain, yes, it'll still be muggy, but we'll see some of those allergens that have been on our allergy count the past couple of days. They should get washed out, except for mold. That might be on the elevated level the next several days. And then also, notice these temperatures getting knocked back down into the lower to mid 80s just due to the lack of sunshine and all the rain that we're expecting. So there's a couple of silver linings for you guys. Okay, Christy asking, how's Saturday looking? So you can see there a 60% chance as of now for Saturday. That still could possibly change because, I mean, we're still 5 days out. There's plenty of time for the back half of the weekend. The trends have been showing a little bit more confidence each and every day, of Friday being a very I don't want to say washout of a day because that always sounds negative, but a very active day in regards to rainfall. Let's say that. Saturday still has a little bit of time to change, but more confidence has been growing. I've noticed that the trend has been on the incline in regards to rain chances for Saturday. And also it's still a little kind of like up in the air as to whether or not we're talking rain as in rain or if we're talking thunderstorms and strong, isolated strong storms on Sunday. You can see I put scattered thunderstorms that day, but if the atmosphere is just too tired or too kind of like worn out from all of the storms that we've had previously in the week, it could just be some rain at that point. Gina, I think you're not the only one that would like it to not rain on Saturday as well. I know there's going to be a lot of festival goers that are going to want some drier weather. Okay, you guys. Well, I am going to let everyone go. Once again, we're going to have updates coming up in just the next couple of minutes. Actually, a little over an hour is when Chief Meteorologist Erica Lopez will be on for KVUE, and we'll have an updated look at your forecast at that point. But until then, I'm going to give you one last look at the radar, and then we're going to let you get back to your afternoon. Stay safe, stay informed, and most importantly, make sure you're staying kind out there, and we'll see you all again on the next one.